don't have that technology.
I'm not very technical myself.
Okay, Lauren. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I
Yeah,
am so excited to dive deep into your theory and your opinions. Guys, these are just opinions, right? We're sharing our opinions on supplementation. So I'm really happy to know that you have been a raw vegan for how long?
uh, almost 34 years.
34 years. And now do you take any supplements?
I do not take a single supplement. Nothing.
And did you ever take supplements? Did you ever experiment with these things?
I took supplements until 33 years ago.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
Haven't taken
33 years.
anything, nothing in 33 years. Yeah,
Okay, so you're the person to talk to. Now, where, let's start. Where do you get your B12? Where do you get it from?
right. So, and this is a huge question. I mean, this is a
Yep.
question that most people don't really understand this. You know, most people think, well, even if you're vegetarian, forget about raw vegan. Even if you're vegetarian or vegan, you need to take B12. So first of all, our gut biome, 10 trillion bacteria, 3 pounds of bacteria, weighs roughly the same amount as your brain, and they produce all the B vitamins every day. On the folds of your tongue, the bacteria produce B vitamins every day.
Okay, wait, say that again because nobody's ever heard that. Hold on.
Right, right.
Say that again, Lauren.
Yeah, so there's 10 trillion bacteria in your colon, which
Okay.
are your gut biome, and they produce all of the B vitamins every day.
So what in the actual fruit are we doing? Why are we taking a B complex or
Well,
B12?
so so first of all, there's a couple of things going on, and one of them is that for years, many years, even today, many people say, yeah, but it's too far down in the digestive tract, we can't absorb them. Okay. Now, in the last 5 years or so, there are some scientists that say, well, it appears that some people can. So I've taken no B12, I don't eat animal products, and I've taken no supplements of any kind. My B12 is perfectly fine. Now, I should say, I haven't had it tested in a long time, but that's the other piece of this. Look, let's say that you believe that children should be in school. I think most schools are pretty useless, but let's say you believe children should be in school. Okay, how valuable or useful would it be to count the number of children on the school bus each morning?
Huh.
When I was in high school, I would go to school, but I wouldn't actually go inside. I'd go up to the hill and smoke pot with my friends. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, now imagine the bus might arrive and some kids may not go into school, or the bus may not arrive. The fact that they're on the bus doesn't mean it's going to get there. Okay, there could be an accident, could be hijacked, who knows? Have a flat tire. So counting children on school buses doesn't tell you much about how many children are in school. We need B12 in our cells, not in the bloodstream. But serum B12 tests do what? They tell you how much B12 is in your bloodstream. And if you eat animal products, you're going to have a lot of B12 in your bloodstream. But it doesn't mean it's getting to your cells. If you look at the actual data, people who eat animal products have roughly the same actual clinical B12 deficiency problems as vegans and vegetarians. They're not better off with B12. Okay?
Mm.
And so, in fact, like almost everything that we think of that doctors are measuring, that blood tests measure, the normal range, normal means what?
Average.
It just means average. Most people think it means healthy. It doesn't.
Right.
A norm is an average. So norms are based on the average population eating animal products 3 times a day. Okay, most people have tons of B12 in their bloodstream, but still don't have what they need getting to their cells. And how much is in your bloodstream tells us nothing. If you actually want to test your B12, there are two much more valuable tests. You can test your homocysteine and you can test your methylmalonic acid, MMA. Those are much better tests. Okay, they move in opposition. So if they're low, it means you actually have enough B12. If they're high, it means you don't have enough B12. Okay, that's what you want to test if you're going to test for something. But testing serum B12 is useless. I wouldn't bother. I had a doctor fasting with me many years ago when I was giving a lecture on this, and she raised her hand and said, Lauren's absolutely right. She said, I work in a clinic, and we frequently see people whose B12, serum B12 tests are fine, but they've got clinical B12 deficiency problems. And we see people who have low serum B12, but they're perfectly fine. The tests don't tell us anything, but it's all most people know, including most doctors. That's all they know.
Wow, there's so much to learn and so much to unlearn. Whoa.
That's really the big issue.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I mean, here's the truth about this. We don't really need to learn everything. Okay. Now, I've been a health coach for nearly 40 years. Okay. For 29 years, I ran the world's largest water-only fasting center. I have to know this stuff because I've coached more than 16,000 clients, and I guarantee my clients the highest level of health. Okay, it doesn't fail if people are coachable and they do what they need to. I have to know this. Most people don't need to know these details. Here's what they need to understand. And we can go through the rest of them, and I think we should. But it's important to understand that there's roughly 25 million animal species on the planet. Do you think, okay, you're here in Florida.
Yes.
Probably not too far away. Where are you?
I'm in Miami.
Okay, I'm in Pompano Beach.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so in Pompano Beach and Miami, there are squirrels in the trees.
Yes.
Okay, the squirrels in the tree outside of your house. Do you think before they have lunch, they're scratching their heads with their little paws and thinking, let's see, have I gotten enough riboflavin yet today? Okay, no other species thinks about their nutrition. They just eat the
No.
diet that their bodies were meant for. Now, humans have a
Yeah.
problem. Okay, so we only have to do the same thing, except there's one caveat. And the caveat is that we have made our bodies so toxic and dehydrated that they don't work very well, even when we're eating the optimal diet. And this is why, for 30 years, I've been supervising fasts. We have to get the body clean. We have to get the body hydrated. We can't get the body hydrated until we get the garbage out of the system. Once the body is clean and hydrated, we easily get our needs met eating fruits and leafy greens. And that's all I eat most of the time. I eat very few nuts and seeds. Every once in a while, I'll do some gourmet raw. But otherwise, it's mono fruit meals, very simple green salads. I don't do juices. I don't do smoothies. They're not optimal. Again, you can agree or disagree. The facts are actually really clear. The facts are there if you look at them. But you know, we oxidize so much of the nutrients within a few minutes of juicing something. We're losing a lot of the value. So I eat whole foods. Haven't been sick one day in your entire life. How old are you?
40.
I take that back. It's only been 38 years so far.
I'm about, yeah.
I thought you were 35 maybe.
Thank you, but I'm a raw vegan, so that's why.
Exactly.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So I mean, for most people, if they get their bodies clean and hydrated and they just eat the way they're meant to, they don't
Yes.
have to know. They don't have to think about this or worry about this. I don't get tests. I don't get anything tested. I don't go to doctors.
Yeah, when is your last blood test? When
Well,
was it?
I think it was 6 years ago. I
Yeah.
needed to get a life insurance company to satisfy a bank in
Yeah.
Costa
Yeah.
Rica for a big mortgage on a piece of land. And they required a life insurance policy. So I had to get a full physical with
Yeah.
several doctors. They tested everything. And by the way, at the time, I think I was 59 or 60 at the time. And they kept saying to me, "You're how old?" Because they're looking at the results and going, "No, there's no way you should be that old." Okay.
Wow.
But so everything was perfect. Prior to that, I hadn't had a blood test probably since I gave blood.
So you're 66 now?
No, it might have been 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
I'm coming up on 65.
65. Wow.
Not there
Wow.
yet. Not there yet. But
Almost.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Almost 41. Wow. You look good, Lauren. You look good.
I feel amazing.
No way would I guess you were in your
My
60s.
body works better today than it did at 18, and this is possible for anyone.
Hmm.
Okay, it's possible for every single person. And I hear from people all the time who are like, "Yeah, well, you know, I've got this." I'm like, "You don't have to have that. You can resolve that." But you want to look
Yeah.
at the nutrients?
Yeah, because we got a lot of questions
You
already.
know, before we move on
Yes.
from B12, it's important that people understand that there are studies now. There's a giant study that's an ongoing project where they're looking at national health and nutrition something, and Haynes. What they've shown is that the more B12 you take, if you're supplementing, and listen, if you're, again, you don't want to use serum B12 test, but let's say you really do have low B12 in your cells, which you can tell from MMA and homocysteine. If that's the case, you could create problems like brain damage. There's some serious issues if you don't have enough B12. The key, though, you have to understand, first of all, if you use a Band-Aid, you're not fixing anything. Okay, it's a temporary thing, and you're actually making it worse. Okay, if you're giving your body something that it should be getting from inside the body, that the body should be creating, what you're doing is you're making it less likely for your body to do what it's meant to do. Okay, so you're actually making the situation worse. So, but if you do, if you're in a position right now where you need to supplement because your B12 is that low, is that bad? Again, not serum B12, but the other ones. Just be careful, because the studies have shown that the more B12 you supplement with, the higher the risk of death from all causes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to take any more of this stuff than you absolutely need to.
Right. A Band-Aid doesn't fix anything. I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So you're comparing supplements to a Band-Aid, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it is a Band-Aid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a guy who we both know argue with me. No, the problem is you're low in something, you take it. There's only two reasons that one could have a deficiency. Okay, A, their diet is insufficient, and B12 is produced by bacteria, but most nutrients we're getting from our food, and D, of course, we get from sunlight theoretically, right? We should, but most of the rest of them we're getting from our food. So only two possible things. One, your diet is insufficient. There was a woman who maybe 20 years ago, she was in the news, she was only 20 or 22 years old, and she had serious kidney and liver disease. And it was newsworthy because she was so young. Those things usually happen when people are much older. It turns out that for 20 years, from the time she was 2 until she was 22, she had only eaten chicken McNuggets. Nothing else. I mean, her mother probably should have gone to prison.
Yeah.
Because that's all she fed her as a child, and when she was old enough, that's all she ate for 20 years. Obviously, if you're eating only chicken McNuggets, you're going to wind up with deficiencies, right? I think we could agree that's probably not a sufficient diet. Okay, but if you're eating the diet, so either your diet's insufficient or your body's not working properly. I see people all the time. I work with clients all the time who eat perfectly, but still have nutrient deficiencies. And that happens because the body's not working very well. Okay, so if we want to talk about addressing the cause of the problem, either we fix the diet or we fix the body, we make the body work better. Those are the only two things we can do. Taking a supplement does not address the cause of the problem, and it makes the problem worse.
I bet a lot of people, thank you so much for explaining that. I definitely want to watch this again because I already learned so much. But I always had an intuition, and I bet a lot of people watching this have had the intuition of, wait, I came to the raw food diet because I decided I want to eat living foods. I want to,
Right.
I recognize the life force here. Why am I
Exactly.
taking this pill, this liquid, this?
Right.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of people think the same way, but then there's some other raw vegans that are trying to convince us otherwise, and they're also trying to convince us to use their discount codes. So, it's interesting.
Well, listen. I mean, if someone tells you you need something,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
happen to make money from it, you have a responsibility to yourself to be a little bit skeptical. And it's no different. I'm telling everyone, I mean, look, you can't have spent 10, 20, 30, 40 years or more on the planet without having garbage in your body that doesn't belong there. You didn't grow up eating fruit, right? I saw pictures of you some 10 years ago, or whatever it was.
yeah.
Okay, there was some garbage in there. And you know what? There still is until you fast long enough. It's there. So I do what I do because I know everybody needs this.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I've stayed completely busy, my center was full until it closed in February, almost all the time, full, without ever advertising.
Yeah.
Never. Never spent a penny on advertising. Okay, because it works and people return it for other people. So we have to, but you, anyone listening should say, well, hang on. Are you just saying this because you're going to make money? Okay. When someone tells you you need to buy their supplements, yeah, well, does it make any sense? No, generally it doesn't.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, I'm also trying to convince people to eat raw. And, I have books and courses because it saved my life. And, I know you feel the same way about fasting.
Yeah.
And I have many clients that have gone to your center actually and said very, very nice things about you. And you've helped them a lot. So for
I'm sure,
sure.
but let's not make this about my appearance, okay?
So now, is it true that ginger and coffee or other foods inhibit the absorption of B12? Is that true, do you think?
Um, I believe there's some truth there. I'd have to go back and actually review the research. But ginger contains
Yeah.
a molecule called gingerol, and it's harmful to us.
Oh,
So look, folks, here's a very simple rule to know what to eat. Okay, if you have to process, I mean, is coffee natural to us? Of course not. Coffee is made from a roasted seed. Okay, we take a seed of a plant, we roast it, then we make a beverage out of it. Okay, coffee is a toxic stimulant, which leaves you more depleted. You lose minerals, and it does affect how you absorb various things.
I've heard that. I just want to ask. I've heard that coffee is a natural pesticide. Is that true? That if
Yeah,
you put coffee around a plant, the bugs
absolutely,
won't.
absolutely. You can
Okay.
use coffee grounds to
Wow.
eliminate pests. Yeah, absolutely. They, they
Wow.
they see the toxicity.
And they're
Um,
selling it to us in beautiful venti, like
exactly.
cups. We're so dumb.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Ah.
ginger is an excitotoxin. Okay, it's
Mhm.
excitotoxin, and that means it excites your taste buds while actually damaging your taste buds.
Mm.
Okay, gingerol is toxic to us. So, full disclosure, every once in a while, I'll eat something that has a little bit of ginger in it, but I
Mhm.
don't do it very often. Okay, and this is not something anyone should be consuming. So, if you're wondering, well, is this something I should be eating or not? If you can't eat it in its natural state without doing anything to it, the answer is no, you shouldn't eat it.
Mhm.
Okay, and
Mhm.
this, I don't know if this is on your list. There are people out there pushing barley grass juice powder.
It's on my list. Yes.
Hang on. When's the last time you ate barley grass? Why would we need the powder of a juice of something? We're not cows. We're not meant to eat grass. How, so many people say, yeah, well, but I use this because this expert convinced me I needed it. No, it's
So,
complete bullshit.
So what do you say then to the people? Because I know the people that are pushing this, they say we need it because the fruit is devoid of the minerals, the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that it once was full of. The soil's depleted. What do you say to that?
I would say the people telling you that are devoid of intelligence. I mean, yes, yes. Look, commercial produce, yeah, of course, it's mostly garbage. It's mostly garbage, right? I mean, it's produced at the cheapest cost to make the highest profit. You have to buy organic produce, okay? And look, you probably know what this is. It's easier if I show you on paper, but that's what people usually say sine wave, right? No, that
Hmm.
would be my financial condition over the last 40 years. Okay, it's been up and down. And on February 15th, I lost everything I owned. Okay, I was in fact negative 400,000 because the hackers went in and refunded all my clients, tried to refund all so my account's negative $400,000. I know what it's like. I'm still buying organic produce. Okay, I might have to sleep in a shithole for a week or two, but I'm going to buy organic produce because
You're
what goes into my
still,
body,
yeah,
what's more important than that?
you're still not making excuses. That at the
No,
end of the day,
no,
that's what it comes down to.
exactly. And so
Yeah.
if you're buying, I mean, again, is organic produce the same as it once was? Probably not. Okay, what I would do is I would go to farmers markets. I would buy from, I would grow myself whatever possible. I don't know if you have a backyard, if you're in an apartment.
I'm in a
Um,
condo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm growing basil and mint and moringa.
Okay.
Question, the moringa, do you eat? I had it a few times and I got a headache. Do
Yeah.
you eat this?
Oh, it's a medicinal plant. Okay.
Medicinal. Okay.
Also, And I mean, again, the truth is that all culinary herbs as well say plants want the same thing that you and I want, right? They want to survive. No plant wants to be eaten. And people say, oh, you're eating fruits, right? But I'm not eating the fruit plant. I don't eat the mango tree. Okay, the mango tree makes mangoes in order to get the seeds distributed. It wants us to eat the mangoes because when we eat the mango, if we're in nature, we'd eat the mango, we drop the seed on the ground. Some of those seeds would wind up where they'd have a better chance of surviving than under the mango tree, where they don't do very well competing with the mature tree for sunlight, water, nutrients in the soil. They can't compete with the parent tree. So the trees need the seeds distributed. Every tree has the same problem. They need to get the seeds distributed. In a climate like South Florida or the tropics, where I was, half the trees in the tropics make some kind of fruit. More than half make some kind of fruit. Okay, obviously this doesn't work very well in North Dakota, and so you have other strategies. But every tree has to get its seeds distributed. So fruit is meant to be eaten, and the plant wants you to eat it. But other plants don't want to be eaten. They want to survive. Culinary herbs are plants that what they have in common, mint and basil and thyme and oregano, all these plants, they have in common is that they all make specific alkaloids that give them their characteristic smell and taste to warn their primary predators that they're toxic.
Ooh.
Now, who are their primary predators? It's mostly insects. On average, we're 100,000 times larger than an insect, on average, okay? So these plants are toxic to insects, and they're toxic to us because there's one central nervous system design on the planet. Every animal so far that's been found shares the exact same central nervous system design. A mosquito and yours, exactly the same, okay?
Wow.
So if it's toxic to them, it's toxic to us. The difference is we'd have to eat a lot of it to kill us. Basil's not going to kill you. But if your body's clean enough and you ate a big bowl of basil, you would feel bad. You would get a headache because it is toxic, and moringa is no different. So if you're going to use these things, you should use them only occasionally and only in relatively small quantities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm off that shit. No, because I got a headache and I was like, this can't be good. So,
No,
because everybody's telling, oh, Lauren, it is, and I know I'm so grateful you exist because it is so hard
me
to
too.
know. It's so hard to know, like, who to believe, what
Yeah,
to believe. There's so much conflicting information. They say
yeah,
moringa is the tree of life, and it's so many nutrients and minerals. And I do agree with you. Yes, organic is super important. Now, is the
absolutely.
soil different when you're buying organic?
Well, it has to be.
It has
Look,
to
if
be.
you, sure. So if you think about insect pests are going to attack the weakest plant. Okay, so commercial growers use pesticides because the soil is so bad that the plants are very weak. All right? Organic growers have to ensure that their soil contains nutrients or the plants would be so weak they wouldn't be able to protect them. So organic growers are going to put nutrients back into the soil to ensure that the plants are much healthier. Okay, so generally speaking, I mean, there have been studies that show that organic produce on average, it depends on which nutrient, has between 4 and let's say 10 or more times the nutrient content of commercial produce. Organic produce has a lot more nutrients. Is it worthwhile? Absolutely. If it costs you twice as much, but you're getting 4 times the nutrients, okay, that's a good thing. Now, understand that we don't want to get overly concentrated sources of nutrition, which is a problem. I'll share a story that you've probably heard me share before, and I'm looking for a prop. Here we go. I have a box. So I had just given a lecture outside of Washington, D.C., and a woman raised her hand. I called her. She stood up, asked me some questions. I answered her questions, and then I said to her, "You drink a lot of carrot juice, don't you?" And she said, "Yeah." "How'd you know?" I said, "Well, you're orange." Her skin was bright orange. Okay. And she said, "Oh, that's because I'm detoxing." And my response was, "I run the world's largest water-only fasting center. It's the most powerful way to detoxify your body. No one's ever turned orange." Okay. Turning orange is not a symptom of detoxification. It's a symptom that you're consuming more carotenes than your liver can process. So we don't benefit by overconsumption. Okay, the fact that organic produce has more nutrients, it's not too much for us. It's that commercial produce is garbage and doesn't contain what it should have. Okay,
Yeah.
the reason the commercial tomato tastes like a red bag of water is because it doesn't have the nutrients in it. Okay,
Yeah.
right? So, we don't have to worry about getting too much. Now, if we're taking supplements, we do have to worry about getting too much. Shall we get back to supplements?
Yes.
Okay,
That was a perfect segue because we're going to talk
sure.
about protein.
Yeah.
Now, it's obvious you don't worry about your protein. It's been over 30
No.
years. You're looking
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell everyone what are your thoughts on being a raw vegan consuming protein powder? Raw vegan protein powder.
First of all, let me say this. And again, I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I mean, I do take some pleasure in doing that, but that's not my primary purpose here. Okay. I know it's going to happen. I know it.
Me
I know.
too. Me too. I do take pleasure in that.
You know
But
what? If you're out there talking about things that are important, you're going to piss people off.
yes.
Okay. What people want to understand, and this has become the water's become much muddier in the last 5 years or so, especially not so much for 40-year-olds, but for people my age. They're now telling people, well, if you're older, you need to consume more protein so you don't lose muscle mass. I've got plenty of muscle mass. I stay strong and fit. I eat very few calories. I eat no concentrated protein most of the time. Okay, it is a non-issue. Okay, it became an issue. We can talk for just a moment about how the RDAs for protein came to be. Okay, the Food and Drug Administration, many years ago, Food and Drug Administration, agriculture, whoever it is. Anyway, they determined the recommended daily allowances for everything, including protein. And what they did was they studied rats to see how much protein a rat needed to be healthy. Okay, now you're not a rat. I'm not a rat, although some people would disagree, but I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. Okay, there's no rodent DNA. Rodents grow much faster than humans do. They have much higher protein needs. We don't need a lot of protein. We need tiny amounts of protein. As it turns out, the more protein we consume, the faster we age and die.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, the
Ooh.
reason the reason older people, they're telling people, and older people do have a problem with muscle loss, but it's because their bodies are toxic and dehydrated. They don't work very well.
And
Okay.
isn't it because also that they have less activity as
Well,
they get older?
absolutely. I mean, of course,
And then you have less muscle.
if you're not using it, you're going to lose it. No question.
Yeah, okay,
But Pete,
continue.
listen, my girlfriend is a few years older than you, and she's amazed when, let's say, I injured my shoulder last year surfing, and I couldn't do anything for about 10 months. It was a really bad
Oh,
injury. I couldn't run because that hurts. I couldn't do upper body weight exercise. I mean, I really couldn't do very much.
wow.
Finally, I got back to working out, and she's going, "Oh my God!" Like 2 weeks later, I can't believe the difference. And I'm, 64 at the time, right?
Wow.
And eating no concentrated protein and no more than 1,200 calories a day most days. So what most people think is nonsense, and what they did, let's come back to this whole thing with the RDAs for protein. First, they looked to see how much protein a rat needed to be healthy, and then they doubled it to be conservative. And then the lobbyists, and this was over 100 years ago, the lobbyists for the meat and dairy industries came calling and said, hey, do us a favor. And so they doubled it again. And so the RDAs for protein are literally 4 times what a rat needs to be healthy. We don't need anything like that. Okay.
Mm.
But the problem is the average person's body is very inefficient. And if it's inefficient, they have to consume more just to get what they need. Okay, that's the issue. The key is to get the body as efficient as possible. And we do this by getting the body clean and by getting the body hydrated.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And we're getting a lot of questions. Some of the questions I'm not going to ask you because it's just like, I don't know why they're here. People are asking questions where I'm just not understanding why they follow either of us. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. But how
Right.
about, let me please ask you about, we're going to move on to vitamin D, please, because, well,
Sure.
it should be obvious. to what Lauren just said ends the protein debate. We don't need to worry about protein. Do you agree with Dr. Morse, who says the more protein we have, the more cancer forms in our body? Like, do you agree with that?
Well, again, the faster we age and die, and
Mm-hmm.
cancer occurs because of two things. It's not excess protein specifically, it's toxicity and poor immune function. But
Okay.
as we age, what happens to the average person is their immune function goes down. Now, most people are very toxic already and are living in, you're living near a city. I mean, you and I are only 30 miles away and both breathing polluted air if we go outside, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So the cleaner and more efficient your body is, the better it's able to detoxify in real time. Okay?
Mm.
So the protein doesn't cause cancer. Cancer is caused by toxicity and poor immune function. But eating excess protein, your vitality is going down, your body's overburdened. I mean, it's definitely affecting your liver and your kidneys, which are organs of detoxification. And so, I mean, I guess it's contributing to toxicity in that it's making your body less able to do what it needs
Yeah.
to do.
I was paraphrasing. I'm sure he didn't say that exact sentence, but
Sure.
yes, good point. And Igor, why are you here? Igor is saying we're both mentally ill. Now, I think,
Well, he's absolutely
well,
right.
you must be a fan of the mentally ill because you're watching us. So I don't know. You
Nothing better to do.
perhaps are getting a little mentally ill yourself. Maybe join us.
Right.
Maybe join us in this mentally ill state we're in. Looking so good as we age, feeling amazing, and building muscle. 2 weeks, that's amazing. I can't imagine not working out for 10 months. That's almost a year.
Yeah.
Wow. That would make me go mentally ill, for real. Speaking of being mentally ill, that's amazing. So I'm so happy you're back and you're able to, get back to it. You should eat raw meat. Okay, let's move on. Vitamin D, vitamin D. We don't have time for that. Oh, I look 50, he says. Well, this is a good 50 then. Well, shouldn't we all look this
No,
good at
no,
50?
she doesn't. No, she
We
doesn't.
should all look this good at 50. Now, here we go. So, vitamin D, do you recommend? There's always that person that lives in Bumblefuck, Canada, or
Right.
whatever, right?
Right.
And they don't get any sun, and they say
Yeah.
they have to. What do you recommend to the people that live in a place with no sun? Like they're in Alaska.
Right. They should probably move. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, and
Yeah.
I realize it's not that simple, but you and I both moved.
Yeah.
We're not from Florida. I spent 20 years in Costa Rica. My family was in Washington, D.C. and further north. I decided I'm going to live where it's best for my body. We are tropical animals. Okay. We use clothing, buildings, heating systems to maintain tropical temperatures. You can't see my lower torso, but we need to maintain tropical temperatures here in the center of our torso. It has to be about 95 degrees. Okay, and so we do that with clothing, buildings, heating systems, fire, etc. The only place we could be naked 365 days, not in Miami, but you can do it in Costa Rica. Okay? We're tropical animals. So we're meant to be getting sunlight on our skin on a regular basis. And we really, if you want to be as healthy as possible, you need to live in a place where you can get enough sunlight. Now, if you don't live in a place where you can get enough sunlight, you can take vitamin D. But you want to be clear that vitamin D, first of all, vitamin D isn't a vitamin. It's a hormone produced by your body when your body's own cholesterol is converted into this hormone. Okay? And we don't need to ever eat cholesterol. Our bodies produce all we need. When we take vitamin D, let me say it this way. Okay, this is fascinating. If you've ever had a problem with rodents, maybe you've used some rat poison. Okay, I hate to kill anything, but you don't want rats in your house, right? Even mice. Look at next time you're at a hardware store, just go look at a bag of rat poison. You know what it says on there? Cholecalciferol. You know what that is? Vitamin D. That's how they
Oof.
kill rats. What if you eat enough of this stuff? I think they lace it with something so it tastes good to the rats. They consume enough of it, it drives up their calcium levels until they die. Okay? So yeah, we need calcium, but we don't need super high calcium. Hypercalcemia is going to kill you. Okay, so
I
you want to
s-
be, again, you want to be careful. And here's the crazy thing. We need vitamin D to have strong bones. Without enough vitamin D, you wind up with rickets, with bone disease.
Mhm.
But the more vitamin D you consume in supplement form, the weaker your bones are.
Yeah.
Okay? So
I'm
again, if you
sensing a
have,
pattern here. I think they're treating us like rats. Because the protein thing, then now the vitamin D thing. I'm sensing a conspiracy here.
well, I mean, and trying to make real food super expensive on
Yeah.
purpose. On purpose,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing this. So,
Mm-hmm.
you won't understand. I mean, again, we do not. What we need to do is get some sunlight. Now, if you live in England or Portland or Seattle or Bumblefuck, Canada, then you probably do need to take something. Okay, I mean, if you can't get away every 6 weeks and spend a few days in the sun, go to Florida, go to Mexico. If you're in the North America, if you're in Europe, go to Spain or Portugal or Greece or someplace like that. If you can't do that, you might have to take the supplement. Don't take any more than you need to maintain your health, because the more you take, the more you're putting yourself in danger. You want to be clear about this.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah, I totally agree with that answer. I would recommend moving. It's not as easy as saying it, right? Saying it's easier, right?
Of course,
But, hey, it took me 35 years, so,
right.
it'll probably take
I
you less.
I love that when people say easier said than done.
Easier
Everything
said than
is
done.
everything is easier said than done.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, like people are just making excuses, but I do agree with the vitamin D is very important because I didn't feel as good or look as good until I moved to Florida.
Yeah,
I didn't, my hair didn't grow, my skin wasn't, I was very like
absolutely.
pale.
No,
Yeah,
but
as a raw
but
vegan.
but it's sunlight that you benefited from, not from taking the supplement.
No,
Right?
no, 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 no,
Right.
no, no,
Right.
no.
Right.
I did take a vitamin D supplement like literally once, and I think that gave me a headache. And I was like, oh no. I'm very sensitive. So I know, being raw, for 15 years, I know when something is good for me and when it's not good for me.
Exactly.
So like I take this vitamin D after 10 years, because people convinced me I was vitamin D deficient in New York. And people and the doctor and people convinced me, natural people, raw vegans convinced me to take a vitamin D. I took it once. I was like, oh no, this is not for me. So you gotta, try it, but you'll see that everything Lauren is saying is correct. Let's move on to iron. Where do you get your iron? Are there dangers of taking an iron supplement? Should raw vegans worry about iron?
Um,
Oh my gosh, sorry. Susu just asked about iron. That is crazy. Let me just
okay.
read. Yeah, hold on. How about someone that are iron deficient? Okay, so sorry, Lauren. Continue, and then we'll ask her question.
Yeah, that's all right. Um, so, should we need to take iron? Absolutely not. Now, I mean, here, first of all, and again, this is something that not many people understand very well, but our mineral needs are relatively small when the body's in balance. What's happening for many people is they're putting their body out of balance all the time. And what that means, out of balance, is it's minerals that are in balance. So they have to consume more. Okay? When the body's in balance, we don't really have to worry too much about mineral intake. So we'll come back to iron in just 1 second. But for instance, you probably know that we need sodium and potassium in the bloodstream in this specific proportion. Sodium here, potassium here. The average person, I mean, you've probably seen people working out at a gym or running somewhere, and you can see the salt stains on their shirt from sweating.
Yeah.
Right? Someone said to me once when I did a reel saying, salt is poison, and it is, by the way. They said, well, that's ridiculous. Our tears, our saliva, and our blood is mostly salt, right? It's like, well, maybe yours is, because your body's trying to excrete it. Okay, mine's not. My tears aren't very salty. My saliva is not very salty. But the average person probably is much saltier than it should be because they're consuming so much of this stuff, and it's literally it's
Mm,
killing us. I mean, it's super toxic to us. You want to be clear. We need sodium and we need chloride. We don't need sodium chloride. Okay, sodium chloride is an
wow.
inorganic mineral. It's a crystal, just like emeralds, rubies, diamonds, sapphires, quartz. These are inorganic crystals. We're not going to grind them up and put them on our salad. Okay, what we need is we need the organic minerals in plant tissue. So with the help of beneficial soil organisms, specialized bacteria, the plant is able to convert the inorganic minerals in the soil into organic plant tissue. We can then eat the lettuce, eat the tomato, and get the minerals we need. Iron is found in relatively small quantities in plants, but it's there, okay? And we don't need very much once the body's in balance. So again, I don't supplement with anything. I don't have any problems with iron being too low. It's not something we ever have to think about any more than any other species does.
Oh,
I
yes.
think again, what people maybe fail to understand is that we really are, our systems are virtually identical to the frugivores. Hopefully the trolls have gone away, but those people out there telling you to eat a meat-based diet, look at the digestive tract of a 500-pound tiger, okay? 500-pound tiger, I've seen you, and I think you come up to about my waist, Jeanette. I'm relatively tall. No, you're not so much, right?
No.
So that tiger is 4 times your size, roughly, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more, maybe even closer to 5 times. Your digestive tract, its digestive tract is 12 feet long from mouth to anus. Yours is 32 feet long. Your digestive tract is more than 2.5 times longer. If it's 4 times your size, your digestive tract proportionally is more than 10 times longer than that animal's is. All carnivores have short, smooth, straight digestive tracts. They have to eat and excrete very quickly. You'll see these people online, these deluded poor folks who are saying, I live on meat, I've never felt better. And that we can talk about why that happens. But I only have a bowel movement once every 7 to 10 days because my body's so efficient. Real carnivores have a bowel movement after every meal. They excrete things that they can't use. Okay, humans pretending that they're absorbing, it's not so. These people are putting themselves in serious danger. But we want to be clear that we have a natural diet like every other species. Every single species on the planet, there's one diet for every member of that species. Our digestive tracts are virtually identical to the chimps and bonobos. There's some minor differences, and that's because of the fact that we now have had agriculture for a long time. They have only access to leaves in nature, which aren't usually as soft as lettuce. And so they have the ability still to process roughage that you and I would have trouble with.
Wow.
Okay?
That makes sense.
But that's
Yes.
really the only difference. So as long as we're eating our natural diet, we're going to get everything we need. You can get concentrated sources of iron relatively in things like dried fruits like apricots and prunes, but I don't eat those things. Raisins,
No need.
you don't need those. We can
Well,
get everything we need from fresh foods.
thank you so much. Sue wants to know, how about someone that is iron deficient, okay? And as soon as they take a supplement, they're okay, but only as long as they supplement.
Yeah, well, so again, Sue, what this tells us is that your body's not functioning the way that it should. Okay, if it were me, you're asking me, I would say, spend 4 weeks working with me remotely, get your body clean. You won't need to supplement with anything anymore. Okay, we actually see many mineral deficiencies, including iron, magnesium, and others, disappear while someone is consuming only spring water, which seems crazy. Okay,
Yes.
because what that tells us is the nutrient is in your body, but your body's not accessing it properly. Okay, so
Interesting.
remember, taking the supplement is a band-aid, which is likely making your body less able to get what it needs from food. You're not long term, it's not the solution.
Isn't it so funny that we have to be ostracized from society for trying to convince humans to eat their species-specific food?
Yeah,
Isn't that insane, Lauren? So I guess we are insane. The whole thing is insane.
I don't disagree. I think Igor's right. We're
And
definitely
by the way,
insane.
insane, doesn't that mean you're sane? If you're insane, I don't
No,
know.
no.
I don't know
Okay.
anymore
Yeah.
because I don't want to be out of sane, right? Like I don't
Well,
fucking know.
no, I think insane does mean crazy, but let's say this.
I
Let's
guess
say
we're
that
crazy.
if we consider sanity going along with everybody else with society, no, thank you. I'll take insanity.
Yes, yes, yes. Same.
Yeah,
Same. I love what you said at the top of the hour. Guys, you got to watch this again. Normal equals average, not healthy. Remember, when you get your
exactly.
blood test results and they are normal, that's not exactly always a good thing.
Right,
Okay? Be
right.
careful there. Be careful when you're going to the sick for advice on being healthy. Be
Exactly,
careful
exactly.
on
By the
what your
way,
levels should be.
by the way, just one more thing.
Yes,
The,
please.
the meat eating people, keto, carnivore, we're going to tell you that non-heme iron, which is the iron found in plants, isn't readily absorbable. But the truth is, people are poisoning themselves by consuming excessive amounts of heme iron. We're not meant to get that. Okay. Now, non-heme iron, they're going to tell you, yeah, but you have to eat that with vitamin C. Oh, you mean like the way it shows up in plants? Okay.
Black
If you're
sapote is a great source of iron and vitamin C, right?
you're going to
Like,
get everything you need. Yeah.
yeah.
Just eat the plants. You're going to be fine.
Oh, so true. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Wow. What about iodine? Do you ever worry about your iodine and do you think we need to worry about it or do you consume sea vegetables?
I do consume sea vegetables every once in a while. Um, Not very often, but every once in a while, yes. Do we need to consume it? Well, again, I mean, when they started iodizing table salt, okay, they did that because the general population was deficient. There were deficiencies among the general population. The question is, why? Why is that happening? And the answer is because the average person's body was toxic and dehydrated, not functioning very well. So there was actually a giant study about 10 years ago where they looked at wild animals from across North America. These are animals that are eating from the land, and none of them were iodine deficient. So animals need the same things that we need. Okay, again, our bodies work in very, very similar ways. We share over 99% of our DNA with the chimpanzee. We share over 96% of our DNA with a pig. And I know some people that are closer than that. Okay, I'm sure you do too. Um, we don't, so these animals weren't deficient in iodine. It's in the soil. The problem is that the average person's body is just not working very well. Again, we need to get our bodies working properly, and then we're going to get what we need. Okay, there really is no need to do anything else.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Totally. So do you, I mean, I know the answers, but this is what people want to know. So these are the
Yeah,
questions I got for
it's
you.
it's okay. Ask.
Do you believe in sea moss? Do you recommend sea moss? Do you think that we should be taking it as a species?
Well, we certainly don't need to eat sea moss. Okay,
Yeah.
sea moss. Um, and let me ask a slightly different question. Let's talk about seaweed, which is there's various different types. There are different plants, but the things that we're meant to eat, apples and oranges, and papayas and watermelons and mangoes and sapotes and lots of other things. When you see them in nature, what's your automatic instant reaction? That
I
looks
want.
delicious.
I
Your
want.
mouth waters. I mean, every one of us has the same thing. Even people that don't think of fruit as being food.
Yes.
Fruit appeals to everyone naturally, instinctively, because that's our natural thing. Again, coming back to the meat thing, I don't know anyone who sees a bunny rabbit and thinks that looks delicious, right? We think, isn't that cute? We don't. A real carnivore says that looks like food to me. We don't have that response. Okay, so you're walking down the beach and there's a pile of seaweed on the sand, and tell me A or B. A, your mouth is watering. You're thinking that looks really yummy. B, you're thinking I'm going to try not to step in that.
Dude, it stinks. It's slimy. It's gross. People
Exactly.
don't know this because they don't even go to the fucking beach. They don't know where their food comes from.
Right.
Sorry.
That's all right. I can't fucking believe you said that.
But I live on the beach, Lauren, and people on the internet are trying to tell me that fruit is too much sugar and I need to have minerals and iron and iodine and
Right. 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 Right.
uh.
Right. So
But
so
it's gross.
yeah.
Seaweed is gross. Sea moss
Yeah.
is gross.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I mean, listen. You can buy it. It's been cleaned and
Yes, yes,
dried, and if
yes,
you want to
yes,
eat it
yes.
every once in a while, you can. I have a package of raw nori here.
Yeah.
Once a month, I might do some raw sushi with lettuce and tomatoes and
Oh yeah,
cucumbers
me
and stuff.
too. Me
But
too.
but is that something we would be eating in nature? Absolutely not.
But I'm not that's the thing. I don't want to suffer through life. And some people are taking this sea moss. It's so gross and they're suffering through it just to get in those minerals. You know, they're taking a scoop of this gelatinous weird shit. And it's like nori, I don't see I like it sometimes. Sometimes my body wants it
Yeah.
and I
Well,
don't I
I mean,
like it. I'm eating it because of pleasure.
right. We don't need to eat anything that we're not attracted to.
So do you believe we need to eat greens?
I do. And I
Okay.
think I think that's clear. Yeah. And again, I can tell you from my own experience that if I go 2 or 3 weeks on just fruit, which I've done many times, my body's always going to tell me, eat some greens eventually. I'm going to get that
Mm-hmm.
message. When I take people through fasts of 21 days or more, almost everybody is craving greens because their bodies want to replenish minerals and other certain things that they're
Yes.
getting from greens in higher quantities. And remember, experts say that maybe we've only discovered 10% of the nutrients in our plant foods. So there might be things we don't even know what they are yet that we're getting from leaves. I do think we need to eat lettuce. I don't recommend eating cabbage, kale, collard greens. These are things that we don't digest very well, and the studies are clear that we actually absorb a lot more nutrients from soft leaves and fruit than we do from things like kale and cabbage.
Ooh, wow, that's good to know because I don't like kale. I don't
No,
like
it's
chard.
no, it's disgusting.
Dandelion greens. Well, how do you feel about the people? There's some raw vegans that say like bitter things are really important on your tongue
Yeah,
to
yeah.
detox the liver.
No, these are bad people, clearly. Right.
Those were
No, I
the
mean,
big DNA people.
exactly.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
here's the thing. These people are simply misinformed.
Yes, yes.
I understand that they believe this, and there are studies that I think are confusing to some people if you don't understand them. There are studies that say that the people that have the healthiest gut biome are the people that have the what's the word I want to use here? They have the greatest diversity of diet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, but here's the thing: who are they looking at?
Yep, yep. Say it because there's some raw vegans that are telling me you got to eat a very large variety every day. Do you eat a large variety every day?
No, no, I have 1 or 2 meals a day. I'll sometimes, some days I eat one thing only. Okay, other days I might have two things, two fruit meals, and some days I'll have a fruit meal and a salad. Where
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm having a total of 6 or 7 different things per day. But that's about the maximum on most days, unless I'm at a restaurant or something. That's going
Yep.
to be the max. We don't have to worry about this, and these people are simply misinformed. Okay, they're wrong about this.
They're
There's
reading books by people that are not even raw. That's
well,
the craziest thing. They're getting
exactly.
this information from people that are not even eating their species specific food.
Well, let's think about the logic here, okay? Because again, the studies say greatest diversity, but they're looking at average people eating conventional diets. The average people eating conventional diets are getting 97 to 98% of their calories from animal products and processed foods, i.e., garbage. Okay, it's all garbage, right? So